Hey guys, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net. And if somebody could just give me a heads up that you can hear and see me okay, that'd be great. Quick reminder for those of you guys that are new to the webinar, please don't use the Q&A only section, use the comments. Chat will come through, it'll be private, but I'll respond. Let's see here. Yep, all messages are private. Fantastic. And remember, guys, we've got a half hour here, so throw the questions at me. Let's see where we're at as far as chat. Sean, that says Dolly. Good, says Tom. Kelly says, yes, can see and hear. Naquaya, pardon me if I messed that up, says howdy. Nick says, I have lorem ipsum on. Sorry, man. I must have messed up the sign-up sheet if that's what you saw. John, hi, how are you? And Yamila or Jamila, I can hear. And Nicole says, see and hear. Fantastic. Guys, we're going to just crank through it. Just a quick reminder, too, though, because I know some of you guys are on the fence and you've been with us for a while. I get people that literally watch the YouTube videos nonstop. And I mean, for months at a time before they contact or get in touch with us or sign up with us. A lot of you guys are new and you don't know. December, we always shut down new sales to everybody. You can't get any of the programs in December going into the new year. We do that. We continue to work, obviously, files turned in if people are partnering with us. We continue to work with you guys and work on all the files. We don't just shut down the business, but we stop taking new people in December. So I figured I'd throw that out since it's the 3rd of November. If there's anybody on the fence that wants to get involved, end of November is the end until next year. That's what we always do. Actually, I think it's before then, probably 27th or something like that. But Ted from Belton, Texas says hello, and Rosalani says hello. Guys, fire the questions out. I have nothing really to. If you're watching my, go ahead and end questions. If you watch our Facebook page or our YouTube page, even our Instagram, you can see that the checks have been rolling in fantastic. It's been a great couple of weeks, and this is going to continue. We had some that were kind of stuck for a little while. I've reached out to everybody where the checks are coming in. So they've gotten notice on that. But guys, there's a lot coming in right now. A lot of business. Surplus is really the play right now. I think that deed flips or flips, will get better as we get into the new year, probably at the end of the first quarter. Hey, Peter. Hey, Angela. Angela B from Montana. Guys, fire some questions at me. This is your opportunity. We've got a limited time here. Anything and everything you want to ask me, fire away. I also want to let you know I've been watching the wholesale boards on Facebook and Instagram. You're going to see an interesting video on our YouTube channel soon because of something somebody said on that. I had to debunk it. That should go live on Friday. Guys, those of you guys from on question and answer, please make your questions only through chat. We're not going to check Q&A. Gilbert from Garland. Nick, flat broke flip. What percentage don't move out on the agreed date? Okay, so flat broke flipper is similar to our deed flip. If you allow people to stay in the property, what we tend to do, Nick, it's a great question. What we tend to do is because, look, they've been playing chicken with the county if it's a tax deed sale, right? So they're not afraid of you. So the way we build our contract is if we do allow them to stay in the property beyond like a month out or a month and a half out. Right now, this time of year, you can really negotiate well, by the way, if you give them a little extra time to get out, let them stay in the house Thanksgiving and or Christmas. That really does help you quite a bit. And of course, it helps them. But you can usually get it for next to nothing if you do that. You give them a little bit of money up front, then you do cash for keys on the back end. The way I do it, Nick, and this is going to sound mean and all that, but it's the only way you can get them out on time, is I will say it's $1,000 less per day for every day you're late. So I get that, and I give them enough money up front that they can get out on time. You know, that they should have money for a truck and all that. Unfortunately, a lot of times they spend that. And yes, I would say 50% of the time, they're anywhere from 1 to 5 days late getting out. I will usually make a deal with him at that point and just go, I don't know why you think I'm playing, but here's the deal. And I'll give him a couple extra days and go, listen, at that point, I'm done with you. I don't care if you get out or not. I'll just hire an attorney. It'll be cheaper for me to hire an attorney, if you don't get out. And I know what that sounds like, but you've got to protect your asset and you've bought it. So what is a partial claim mortgage, says Nakwaya? I have never heard of that ever. I'm thinking that is probably actually a mortgage where it's not in first position, but maybe Jeff can answer that one. He's moderating this. If we are signed up for overages, do you provide all leads or can we supply our own? Actually, Jerry, we teach you how to fish. You can go get your own list really easy for overages, surplus funds. So no, we don't provide lists for that. Then we'd be sending them to 3 different guys because we didn't know which one, we wouldn't know which one would work it. It's just way too easy to get lists online. So, and calls if you want. So we teach everybody how to do that. John, there's a minimum bid number and a sales price number. Does that make the overage the difference? You can't assume that, John. So in tax, it's usually the minimum bid is the actual taxes owed up to that point. However, remember, sometimes those can be older taxes, so it can actually be a little more than that amount. Let me make sure I'm on here. Okay. Whoa. On mortgage, sometimes they'll start it earlier too. But John, remember, if you're going to turn it into us, we need a list of actual where it shows overages. Also on mortgage foreclosures, if you see overages, and it starts at a set number like 150,000 or whatever, that's probably under the actual amount owed. Also, if you see lists where everything's even, like $5,000, $7,000, $11,000, there's probably something wrong with that list. They're always oddball numbers. But John, I hope that answered your question. Not always. And I know that if you're going to be working for us, we need to see the list showing the dollar amount of the overage. Florida can be a little bit different, but that's for the Florida folks out there. Jeff can handle. I'll let Jeff talk about that. Rosalana, is there another way besides Google to find out if the person is deceased? I've tried a few other ways, but somehow I missed something. So Rosalana, I'm going to give you guys, so here's what happened, some context. So what we started to do is if somebody died, okay, if someone has died and we skip trace them and we see that they're deceased, we've been contacting you going, hey, by the way, we can't work this file because the person died, okay? So people freaked out and they said, hey, how can I figure out if they're deceased before I even do the research, okay? Well, there's 2 ways, and I actually put a video together on that, but there's 2 ways to do it. One is to check the obits on Google, using the city, and also if there's a different city on the deed, different notification address on the deed or on the tax assessor's office, maybe check that city as well to see if there's an obit for that person there. But you can also get skip tracing systems. But look, guys, we're doing the skip tracing and finding this out for you. Don't get caught up in it. It's a cost of business. People are going to die. It's going to sidetrack you if you get involved with that. It's not like it's 50% of what you turn in. So you guys got to let go of that. Okay. Either get your own skip tracing, right? If you're that concerned about it, or just understand it's a part of doing business, especially in retirement communities such as Arizona and Florida, South Carolina, parts of Mississippi even, and Texas. But I mean, I wouldn't get that caught up in it. I honestly wouldn't. Nicole, on surplus funds. What was that in reference to, Nicole? See and hear you. All I see is on surplus funds. Peter, if you became a researcher, how long does it normally take to get paid on a deal submitted? Pete, it's usually about 3 months out. Let me break it down for you. It takes us a month to get a hold of people and get them to sign our contract and send it back. That's because it takes multiple calls, multiple mailings. And as soon as we get it from you, not only do we mail and call the claimant, but also their possible relatives and associates. We just pound the snot out of them. It's still at that because people aren't picking up the phone these days or answering. They're not answering the phone. They're also not picking up, even for text, there's a delay. And they kind of need to see us in front of them. Usually the mailing 3 or 4 times on top of the call is what really piques their interest. And we do a takeaway voicemail at a certain point. This is all in ebooks, excuse me, where that kind of makes the phone ring. So it's about a month for that. At that point, the attorney gets it, double checks the title. We get a 10%. We send 10%. of the gross amount being held to the claimant as good faith money. As soon as the attorney says, yep, title works correct, we double check that. We send that out, and the attorney immediately, when we send it to them, also gets on the docket if they have to do a motion, or they will have the claim filled out and sent in. And usually within a month, we'll have claims reviewed and or motions done. And at that point, it takes anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, depending on the county, usually 2 to 4, closer to 4, about 4 weeks. So you're looking at a total of 3 months from submission. If we were able to get in touch with them fairly quickly, that's a really good number. Buenos tardes, Senor Sean. Hey, James. Steve, will we be able to pursue unclaimed funds, or are we only pursuing state and mortgage surplus funds? So it's not state tax and mortgage surplus funds at the county level, or parish if you're in Louisiana, right? Borough if you're in Alaska. But as far as that, Steve, if you buy, if you get the surplus funds program, you can also, I believe, either add on Ultimate Finder, or if not, on the products page. If not, simply go to the resources page that's attached to your ebook. Right after you open it up, there's a resources page. There's a lot of information included on there. Should be a little button or a little section there that says Past Buyer Loyalty Discount Page, and that'll have some programs up there. Usually they're $250 to $400 programs up there that we don't even offer on their own, and that's the past buyers. So you'll have access to that. Unfortunately, I don't know your FB or IG. Can you enlighten me? I'll make it easy for you, Scott. Surplusfundsriches.net. The link to the Facebook page is on there. Okay. Also, everything across the board, though, Surplus Funds Riches, all one word, is our YouTube channel. Surplus Funds Riches, all one word, should get you to Facebook. Should be the same thing on Instagram. Jerry says, got it. Gilbert, if there are no liens filed at the moment the surplus fund disbursement claim form is submitted, the county should release the funds, right? I mean, if they file a lien against the case after the surplus funds have been dispersed, too late for them, right? So, Gilbert, you're looking at liens. Actually, when people join up with us, we check mortgages and liens that aren't recorded on the recorder or register of deeds office. However, you got to check mortgages to make sure there weren't any mortgages in place at the time of the sale, right before the sale hit, because those are still have a priority claim to the overage in front of the owner. Any liens that were filed prior to that foreclosure are also in there. The only lien past the foreclosure that can have a claim on it that I've ever seen are two kinds. HOA liens, if they come in, they've got it, they can get it. The other one is, HOA and code enforcement, of course, but also IRS and state income tax liens that are put in there, because state income tax liens and federal income tax liens, both of them can actually predate themselves and go, look, this was from taxes from a year ago. So if that was prior to the surplus funds being created, they can actually still make a play for that. Very important. But Gilbert, the point is you check the debt against the property, at least the mortgages and all that, as it stood prior to the foreclosure. And I want to make sure that people understand, because you asked this question. There we go. Gilbert, because you asked this question, I need people to understand, if there's a lien or a mortgage in the way, okay, prior to the auction, if they don't show up to make a claim, that does not mean the court is going to say, oh, they didn't come, so they don't get it. Florida is the only exception to that, and that's on tax overages. And we cover that in the Florida ebook. That's one of the reasons why it's a separate book. It's so different. But if there was a mortgage in place or whatever, and even if you notified them and they don't show up to make a claim, it's not like the court goes, oh, they didn't come, so it's not their money. That's not how it works. I need you guys to understand that, because some people go, screw it, I'll make a claim and throw it against the wall and see what happens. No, you're wasting your time. Nicole, recordation date, I'm still confused on it. Deed of trust is a mortgage. Yes, a deed of trust is a mortgage. Nicole, it sounds like that's a support question. So I'd ask Jeff that using support as outlined in your ebook. Don't wait to come to webinars for that kind of stuff, guys. Jeff gets back very quickly. But recordation date, check on, it should say for what that is. Also, in the step-by-step, Nicole, it'll actually show you what date we're talking about. So I would refer back to that in the ebook. Nicoya, what is the most effective way to research a claimant's overall debt? So Nicoya, all we require you to do is check mortgages or liens that were actually recorded with the recorder's office or register of deeds department. We teach you how to do that in the ebook. As far as personal judgments, which can also count against the surplus and have a priority claim in front of the owner if they're recorded in the same county as where the house was, those judgments, that's something we have the attorney do when they go to pull the money out. It's rare that we find anything in addition there, but that's something the attorney does. Dolly, what do you do if the entire chain of title is not recorded? Never seen that, Dolly, ever. Now, if you can't find a deed from when they bought it, because sometimes they're really old deeds, like 1980s, I got to say this, and I don't want to offend anybody, but in the 80s, most people were at least 35 when they bought a house. Okay. So we're talking about, let's say it was 85, 37, which is 72 years old. If you're in a place where they only go so far back, like 1990, as far as deeds, and the deed is older than that, and maybe the tax assessor's office showed you that there was a sale at 1985, that's going to be a very high level of deceased claimants at that point, just so you know. But as far as the entire chain, I've never seen that, Dolly. It's if you can get onto the Register of Deeds or Recorder's Office, you can find deeds. Tashia, which of the program is the easiest? Reason I ask is because I'm legally blind. I would love to do one of the programs if it doesn't require me to drive anywhere. You don't have to require it. It's all from home. Tashia, I don't know what your software is, so this is just me being completely upfront. I have no problem with people being blind. I don't discriminate in any way. We've had people actually be effective that were blind, but you're going to have really good software that can read whole pages for you and click on links and that type of thing. You're going to have all that stuff, and you're going to have a way for like Dragon or whatever that reads it to you. If you don't have that, I would not buy the program because you're really going to need that, and it is an online program. Again, guys, I'm ignoring the Q&A system section. Go to the chat section, please. What skip tracing software do you recommend? Great question. So we use 3MAT, but you don't need that. I like all three of them for different reasons. So we like IDI data for finding the claimant. I think they're very, very good at finding people. IDIDATA, IDIdata.com. Great at finding people. We also use Microbilt heavily, MICROBILT.com. If you use Microbilt, and there's going to be a replay of this, guys. If you use Microbilt, mention my name, Sean Bougie, or Greater Good Company, they will waive the startup fee, which is $200. Okay. Talk to Randy Mosteller. Call Microbilt, microbilt.com. Look up the 800 number. Call, ask for Randy Mosteller. Tell him that you're working with Sean Bougie, your Greater Good Company, and that will. Sorry, I better check this. Make sure there's nothing going on. That will get you to where they can waive that whole thing, the whole startup cost. So that's a big deal. After that, so you've got IDI data, Microbilt. The third one that we like for a completely different reason is, believe it or not, White Pages Premium. And the reason that we like White Pages Premium is because it's unbelievably good. I mean, unbelievably good at finding people using reverse lookup, reverse address. And a lot of times, if the property, if it was a recent foreclosure and it was rented, you'll get the name of the person that's staying there. You can call them and they'll give you the contact information. So that's another reason why we use that anyway. Microbilt, ask for Randy Mosteller, and it's microbilt.com. Have you had issues with foreclosure overages in Louisiana? Jerry, only that it takes forever to get them out. We've been working on some cases there right now that are finally going to be coming out. Paul, with judgment recovery in general, is there any other way besides a TLO search that a judgment can be located against a debtor, such as court record search? Paul, this is another reason why we use attorneys when we do the retrieval, because we have the attorneys actually pull someone at the court to double check personal judgments. TLO is the only thing we found that was fairly accurate. And even then, it's not completely accurate. No, I've never seen anything else that's really good, really accurate with finding personal judgments against debtors. So that's another reason why I build in a 10-day period between when I get 10 business days between when I get the documents back from the claimant and when I send that first, I send the 10% of the gross amount being held by the court as good faith. I give myself 10 business days for that. And the reason I do that is I need that time for the attorney to double check that. And I'd rather pay an attorney to double check all the title work and double check judgments for 75, 100, 150 bucks than pay an owner 10% of $100,000 and find out I can't get it because there's a judgment in the way. Just makes sense to me. Matt, how do you check if there are any other liens on the property? I think I just answered that. Chris, I heard you say something is being released either tomorrow or next Friday. What is being released? Sorry, I had to step out of the room. I didn't. What I was saying, Chris, is we shut down all sales for the month of December. We do that every year. Usually it's actually before December 1st. We shut everything down. We still work files that have been turned in. We're still in the office. We just don't sell programs to new folks. I saw there were some issues with some types of deals in Memphis, Tennessee. Are there issues with pursuing tax overages there? I haven't seen an issue at all with that, Jerry. Matt, Memphis, Tennessee, what we had a problem with, Jerry, is I don't want to do deed flips there. It's crazy how you can go from one street to the next, and it's just the difference is night and day. Surplus, we got no problem with. Matt, what kind of attorney do you use? We have a central attorney who actually his background was real estate, and his paralegal sets us up with other attorneys in other states. She will call the state bar to ask questions, see if they've got a referral. If not, she can do a Google search, and she can check also with other realtor attorneys that have done business. She can also, because she's a paralegal, call that courthouse, and they'll tell her what attorneys are in and out of there doing surplus funds retrieval. So that works really good for us. Corey, if you do surplus funds for 8% commission, how long do they take for payment? Yeah, I answered that, 3 months. And how many can submit from research? You can submit as many as you want, Corey. What we do is we throttle you back at first. It's one at a time until you see that we've accepted each one. So you got to wait and see that it appeared on the active files list. Once you've turned in 3, you can go unlimited after that. That's designed to help you and us. You're going to make mistakes at first, and we're going to kick it back and go, hey, you didn't do this, you didn't fill this out. Please fix that and resubmit. Well, before we would let people turn in 10 that were all wrong, and then they get discouraged and stop. So now it's one at a time until they're accepted, and then you can turn in as many as you like. But because by the time you've done 3, you got it down cold. Jeff, yeah, please note we will be shutting down ebook sales on November 27th until New Year's Day. So November 27th is the last day you guys can buy this year. Just so you know, we do that every year. It shouldn't be a surprise that the guys have been around for a while, but we do that every year. So that's the last chance to buy it at current pricing. Matt, I'm barely considering it right now, but if I decide that it's something I'd like to do fully, I'm going to invest. Okay. Tashia, thank you. Scott, okay, you mentioned being able to do this anywhere in the country, but is there a need to visit the city for records, i.e. deed information? No, Scott, everything's online, registered deeds of recorder's office. You do not have to go into the court. What programs do you use from IDI data? What program do you use from IDI data? I mean, we use the people search, Jamari. I believe it's called expanded people search. Corey says, understood. Thank you. I didn't know that. Rosalena, do you need to have an LLC? Great question. Or be a business to sign up for the 2 skip tracing companies you recommend? All right, guys, any real skip tracing system. Now, white pages now, but a really in-depth skip tracing system such as Microbuilt or IDI data, they're going to want you to be in the US. Okay. They're going to want you to have a business account. It could be a DBA. You don't have to have an LLC or corporation. You can go get a DBA for 20, 30 bucks at your county doing business as. Okay. Usually it's the clerk that handles those, but you can ask around, get a DBA and open an account with $5 in it that has that name on it. They're going to want to see an account that has that DBA or company, whatever you're going to do. DBA is fine. If you're going to sign up for your own Microbuilt or IDI or any of these TLO, any of these skip tracing services, are going to want that. The better ones, IDI and Microbuilt, are probably going to do an in-person. They're going to check that you've got an office or an area that you can close the door. Check that the computer is in a secure area where you can close and lock it up. Check, I believe they like seeing locking doors as well. They're going to actually do an in-person. They're going to check you out, guys. So because they're giving you stuff that's in many cases it's sensitive data. They're going to do it. They're going to do a check on you too. If a wife has died on original deed, has died an only other person that would have a claim on funds, should I still list her in conclusion? Nicole, I don't understand what you just asked me. Please re-ask that. if a wife has died on original deed has died and the only other person that would have claim on funds. I guess you're saying the wife and the other person have both died. That is covered in our system, how we handle that. So check with support on that, please. Tanya, hello. I was having issues with viewing deeds in Delaware. Really, there's not an issue, Tanya. You gotta pay, and it's can be cost prohibitive depending on how many you're looking at. I'm well aware that Delaware charges. Georgia charges a monthly of, I think it's $25 a month, but that's for unlimited across the entire state. I believe Delaware charges you a per view, which can actually add up very quickly. Same thing with certain counties in California. So your choice is to either pay it or go to another state. Online. It's all online from home. How long does it take to get a first deal, roughly? I'm assuming you mean get paid, Matt. That's about 3 months. Do you have to pay for all deeds, Tanya? Delaware, I believe, does charge that. The rest of the states don't. So I'd go to another state or pay it. I mean, that's just move on if you don't want to pay what the local county is asking you to pay. There's most of the states, it's all free. Register of deeds or recorder's office is all free. What are the top 3 common mistakes that people make when they first start, and how can they be avoided? Great question, Matt. I'm hoping that Jeff has turned off comments at this point. What are the top 3 common mistakes that people make when they first start, and how can they be avoided? Now, I'm going to go ahead and broadcast this. Hey, Tanya, you're asking, I know you have to pay, but when I put it in the basket, it doesn't give you the option to pay, Tanya. That's not our website. That's not our deal. One of the things we make very, very clear with folks on support is we can't help you with that. That's a third party vendor. We can't go in and make your basket work when you check. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be difficult, but we can't help you working with counties or with whatever, as far as if their website's got glitches. That's something you're going to have to talk to them about. We can't help you with that. That's not our site. 3 common mistakes that people make when they first start, and how can they be avoided? Number 1, read the ebook. For goodness sake, people want to skim it and then they want to watch just the videos. That ebook, the ones we've got in place right now for National Surplus, Premier 16, National Deed Flip, and Deed Flip 30, all those, the book is a step-by-step and it's broken down. It is a phenomenal read if you just take your time and read it. It's 50, 60 pages for the first part where you don't just being a researcher. That's not a big read. We've had people complain about it before, not often, but occasionally. That is not a big read to learn a new business. So I would read that. That's the number 1 thing. The second is take your time. People get in a hurry. They think they've got to rush and hurry up and do stuff. You're just going to make mistakes doing that. So just take it easy. It's a new skill set. You're going to get really faster, a lot faster as time goes on. And after you research a couple of deals, you're going to get crazy fast. It could take 45 minutes, first file or 2. After that, you're going to go, oh God, all I'm doing is putting debt in order and checking it out. I got you. And it'll take you 15 minutes. Okay, so that's 2 of them, right? Don't get in a hurry. Read the ebook. I'd say the other one is just people get silly about they want to work. And no offense to you, Tanya, I'm not making fun of you, but they want to work. I've got to work this state because this is the state I'm in. Or I want to work this state because I saw some stuff that were good list. Guys, you can work 45 states with a national surplus, right? Good Lord, just jump on it. Jump on another state or another county. You got to get out of that. People get caught up and work in a certain area. Work wherever you get a list. It's online from home. It's silly to try to work a region. And that should be it. Guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to thank everybody for coming. I very much appreciate it. Be sure to go to YouTube, Surplus Funds Riches, all one word. I've put a lot of really good content up lately, including, if you didn't see it when I sent the email out, the reason why people that are working surplus funds as just a finder are going to go out of business in the next 2 to 5 years. That's a very important video to watch. You need to take a look at that. Surplus Funds Riches, all one word, on YouTube. And it'll say surplus funds finders will be out of business in 2 to 5 years. Here's why. Go watch that, please. That's important. Thanks for coming, guys. And remember, from the 27th on, I guess the 27th is the last day. Jeff put that up there. Hold on a second. Anyway, and before the end of the month, we shut down all sales. So if you're interested, just a heads up. I appreciate everybody coming. I hope you have a great night.